I never imagined I'd have such a connection with tunnels. This is the BYD Seal 06 God's Eye 2025 model with smart driving. I just bought it at the end of February. Then the display showed power limited and the screen went completely blank. Suddenly I had no power. I couldn't even press the accelerator. With a tiny bit of momentum, I slowly coasted into this lane. Behind me, a big truck was flashing its lights non-stop. This is the domestic brand I'm supposed to support? I backed it, and it nearly killed me. On July 21st, a vlogger reported M9, delivered less than 24 hours earlier, suffered 2 autonomous driving failures within 3 hours. This is the Huawei Aito M9, also brand new as of yesterday. It has auto park, but today while engaging that feature, it crashed into someone else's car, not once, but twice during the same parking attempt. Watch this. I pull over to the side and let the self-driving system steer itself into the spot. I veered way off. I was terrified. I kept filming, and the car came to a stop. Then it accelerated again and hit the same spot. That's Huawei's quality. That's Huawei's self-driving, letting the car park itself. On August 1st, buyers of Huawei smartphones revealed that they must now sign a waiver acknowledging that the Harmony OS system may be inconvenient and that some software features remain incomplete. Content creators shared other Huawei quality issues. Everyone should stay away from the Huawei if it's under 6 months old. It's junk, doesn't work at all, and I didn't even hit anything.
第一次买华为手机。
My very first Huawei phone broke my heart. I used it for just 3 days. It's ridiculous. I couldn't even power it off.
Huawei's computers are something else. They literally cracked open by themselves. I'm never spending money on a Huawei again. One vlogger warned consumers to steer clear of the pitfalls caused by low-quality tech.
后面这辆新能源电车
Watch out for hazards, especially those that threaten you and your family's safety. The EV behind me is the one I bought a year and a half ago. While I was driving it on an ordinary road, the front wheel suddenly locked up, forcing me into an emergency stop. A truck behind me swerved just in time, which saved me from a serious accident. Staff at the dealership told me the differential failed and caused the lockup. I see this as a quality issue. I reported it to the authorities, but they said the manufacturer insists they have a valid certification, so it can't be a quality problem. To the automaker, I say, if there's an issue, fix it. You owe your customers better than a piece of paper. Certification isn't a shield. Everyone, let's steer clear of these traps.
这几年我们很多人都在吹
For years, we've all been praising Made in China. We hear claims that China's industrial output now accounts for a massive share of the global market. We're called the infrastructure superpower, the world's largest manufacturing nation, with ships launched like dumplings, electric cars leading the pack, and Chinese phones and computers owning huge market shares. But honestly, we really overhype it sometimes. He said his small electric scooter developed a battery fault just after its 1-year warranty expired, leading him to suspect planned obsolescence designed to drive sales. He asked whether this was the government's way of boosting GDP. He recalled a Panasonic TV his family used when he was 3 until he was 20, replacing it only when its features became outdated, and then passing it on to relatives in rural areas. He said that kind of durability exemplified Japanese manufacturing decades ago. The vlogger noted that many affluent Chinese families now prefer imported appliances, especially Germany's Siemens and Japan's Panasonic, because they've experienced the quality difference firsthand. He offered more examples: a domestic brand TV that failed within a year, and a high-end set from a leading local manufacturer that broke immediately after its 6-year warranty ended.
不支持中国制造
It's not that we don't want to support Chinese brands. We do back them with real money. But all we get is disappointment. Some people support domestic EVs with their lives. In China's tightly controlled media environment, criticizing joint venture or imported cars often passes without pushback, but voices become cautious when confronting domestic new energy vehicles. One vlogger candidly admitted that many hesitate to speak out.
不知不觉我活成了一个
Before I knew it, I'd become a fool. I feel like I could freely mock and criticize foreign or joint venture brands such as Tesla, Mercedes, BMW, Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, but I wouldn't dare mention EV brands by name. EV has become code for domestic cars. I didn't dare to speak their names. I know you do. You can mention them freely in the comments. Just look at their monthly sales. They're fooling the public. Political commentator Shi Ke explained that perceptions of poor quality and made-in-China products are deeply rooted in Western thinking, causing consumers to distrust items bearing that label. At the same time, many Asian-based companies hide their products' Chinese origins. Over decades as the world's factory, China has produced most consumer goods, from phones and computers to clothing, often in factories owned jointly or wholly by foreign brands. Yet this scale of production rested on China's low human rights advantage, where workers endured decades of low wages under tight government business control, driving down costs and fueling price competition. Former US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned that Chinese government subsidies have flooded global markets with low-cost products, undermining industries worldwide. She singled out China's new big three exports: electric vehicles, lithium batteries, and photovoltaic products. Independent commentator Xiang Yang wrote on X that Chinese firms compete through intellectual property infringement, cutting quality to reduce costs, and burning cash via unlimited subsidies, dumping products below cost to capture global markets. As a result, low-quality, Chinese-made high-tech products have become ticking time bombs not only within China, but across different markets worldwide.
It was a day that started just like any other in Bolivia. It's a sleepy South American nation of 12 million people nestled in the Andes Mountains, a developing and resource-rich nation that's broadly avoided global headlines for the last half-decade. But by the mid-afternoon of the 26th of June 2024, Bolivia would watch helplessly as heavy military vehicles rammed through the gates of the presidential palace, soldiers stormed the building, and a powerful military general took to the airwaves to announce that he, not the president, was now in control. On today's special episode of Warographics, we're not going to keep you in suspense. The coup, it failed, without a single life lost on either side, and order quite quickly would be restored. But simply reporting the outcome belies the sheer strangeness that surrounded the entire event, the fractious and unstable situation within Bolivia, the grandstanding and the odd cordiality of the coup itself, and how, in the aftermath, it's worth asking whether this strange episode was even actually a coup attempt at all. At approximately 2:30 in the afternoon local time on Tuesday, the 26th of June 2024, the Bolivian state media organization, ABI, issued an urgent message over the airwaves. Military columns were making irregular and unauthorized movements in and around the capital with intent that was at the time unknown. Before long, Bolivian television channels were airing video footage of numerous military personnel alongside a pair of tanks located just in front of the Bolivian presidential palace, known as the Casa Grande de Pueblo in the nation's administrative capital of La Paz. Their commander was one Juan José Zuniga, a general serving as the commander of the Bolivian army, and standing in the square outside the presidential palace, Zuniga made his intentions clear. Quoting a news translation here, he proclaimed, "The three chiefs of the armed forces have come to express our dismay. There will be a new cabinet of ministers. Surely things will change, but our country cannot continue like this any longer." Zuniga announced that multiple incarcerated people within Bolivia who he called political prisoners would be released, including the nation's most recent former president, Janine Áñez. The target of the coup was Bolivia's current president, a career politician named Luis Arce, who's currently in the final year of his first term of office. At the time of the coup, Arce was believed to be either within the presidential palace or in a neighboring building that serves as the center of executive power in the country, accompanied by several of his ministers. With an armored vehicle busting through the palace gates and troops streaming inside within just minutes, it seemed all but certain that Arce's fate was in the hands of General Zuniga and nobody else. Said Zuniga during the coup, quoting from an Associated Press translation here, "We are listening to the cry of the people because for many years an elite has taken control of the country. The armed forces intend to restore the democracy, to make it a true democracy." Just before we continue with today's video, I want to tell you about something that's been a game changer for so many guys out there, but not for me, because I am super bald, and that is Keeps. Now look, as I just said, I'm already bald, but some of you might be just going bald. You might be thinking you are going to go bald because your whole family is bald. This was me in my early 20s. And you might be thinking I'd like to have my hair a little bit longer, and that's where Keeps comes in. Look, if it was 10 years ago, oh god, 15 years ago now, yeah. I've been bald a long time. I'd be all over Keeps. It's an online subscription service that makes it super easy and affordable for men to tackle male pattern baldness from the comfort of their home. No more awkward doctor's visits or trips to the pharmacy. Just complete an online consultation and a licensed medical provider will tailor a treatment plan specifically for you. And the best part, they deliver the treatment right to your door in discreet packaging so you can It's just subtle. It's nice of them to go to the doctor and the pharmacy and be like, no, just definitely losing my hair. Nothing. You can choose delivery options of 3, 6, or 12 months, and you can adjust, pause, or cancel your plan anytime. Keeps offer clinically proven treatments that will stimulate hair growth, plus hair thickening shampoo, conditioner, and styling pomade. Make your hair look its best. God, it's been a long time since I've used any of that stuff. And here's a fun fact, over the last 6 years, Keeps have treated over 1 million men. That's a lot of happy guys with great hair. Oh, rub it in, why don't you, Keeps, with your ad copy? Thanks to Keeps for sponsoring this video. For a special offer to get started, go to keeps.com/Simon or click the link in the description below. That's keeps.com/Simon. And now back to today's video. Whether that meant that Arce and his ministers could be arrested and tried or sent into exile or killed outright on the cool brown tile floors of the presidential palace itself, there was simply no way to know until it happened. And nor were there any clear indicators on what Zuniga's plan might be in the aftermath. The promised release of former President Áñez offered some clue, but whether she would be installed as the country's leader or whether Bolivia's latest in a long line of coups would end with the imposition of a military junta, it was impossible to say. Nor was the apparent coup's objective to oust Arce in favor of Bolivia's best-known former president, Evo Morales. After all, General Zuniga seemed no more amenable to Morales than he was to current President Arce. In fact, a rift between Zuniga and Morales was almost certainly the spark that lit off this entire Bolivian powder keg. 2 days prior to the June 26th coup attempt, Zuniga had announced that the Bolivian armed forces would arrest former President Morales if he officially began a run for that highly controversial third term as president. According to Zuniga, Morales was a traitor to the country, and the army commander accused the former president of plotting a revolution against the current Bolivian government. He stated of Morales, in part, quoting here, "This man is a true mythomaniac. He uses lies as a strategy to return to power." Zuniga, like Arce before him, insisted that the Bolivian constitution would prevent Morales from ever returning to the presidency, although in reality the constitutional court that's already disqualified Morales from the 2025 race may not actually be enough to prevent his run. Ultimately, General Zuniga's threats were a bridge too far, even for former President Morales' own political rival. 1 day later, President Arce relieved Zuniga of his post, and President Morales that if he failed to do so, then it implicated the entire Bolivian government in what Morales described as a self-coup to prevent any real potential change in national leadership. It was the culmination of a boiling feud between the two men, one in which Morales had accused Zuniga of leading a military group that Morales alleged was working to destroy him. With that very raw wound on full display, it was impossible to predict what such a disgruntled ex-commander might do with the nation at his fingertips, and whether this surprise tour would very quickly become a tour of revenge. But once Zuniga's troops were inside the presidential palace, more photos and videos began to emerge, indicating that perhaps bloodshed wasn't the only potential shocking outcome of the day. Not long after Zuniga arrived to the square outside the palace, with Zuniga's troops streaming through the building, Arce issued his own video message sent to news outlets from within the presidential palace. Surrounded by his ministers, in a clear expression of defiance, Arce called on the Bolivian population to protect the nation's democracy, protect Bolivian lives, and mobilize to stop the coup before it was too late. Across the city of La Paz, citizens responded to Arce's call en masse. On the one hand, many of the city's residents first descended upon supermarkets, banks, pharmacies, gas stations, and everywhere else that need to collect resources in the event of massive political upheaval. Bolivia is, by now, very used to the occasional coup d'etat, with nearly 40 such attempts since 1946. In such an uncertain situation, the instinct to stock up on essentials in order to weather a coup in Bolivia is just as well refined as the instinct to stock up in advance of a hurricane in the American Deep South. But all across the city, another mass reaction happened too. Surging onto the streets, thousands of pro-democracy, pro-government protesters descended on the presidential palace. In some cases, they even approached coup soldiers directly and demanded that they stop the chaos or otherwise withdraw from their positions. And inside the palace, when General Zuniga and President Arce came face to face, the result was neither a prompt arrest nor a bullet screaming through the bridge of Arce's glasses and into his head. Instead, it was Arce berating Zuniga in the palace's halls, surrounded by a crush of ministers, military, and other onlookers. On footage broadcast to television across the nation, Arce laid into his wayward general, quoting a translation here, "I am your captain, and I order you to withdraw your soldiers. I will not tolerate this insubordination." As he scolded Zuniga, sounds heard in the video resembled the launch of tear gas canisters, which were around that time being fired against protesters. A total of 9 civilians would be injured over the course of the coup, although nobody would die as a result of the coup attempt throughout the entire day on either side. Before long, condemnations were raining down on the coup from all sides. Arce's government ministers, Bolivian trade unions and labor groups, opposition candidates and parties, former President Evo Morales, and even the former President General Zuniga had intended to release Janine Áñez. Arce appointed new leaders of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, including a general named Jose Wilson Sanchez, who took the position vacated by Zuniga and promptly ordered all the troops participating in the coup to return to their barracks. Before long, the troops were doing just that, making their way out of the city center and taking their armored personnel carriers and tanks with them. Swarmed by the media, Zuniga made a series of statements to the press and was placed under arrest, forced into a police car, and driven off. With President Arce triumphantly raising a fist over the gathered crowd, and his defense minister later confirming that the government was back in total control of the military, the coup attempt was over, some 3 hours after it had begun. Now, there's quite a lot to unpack about this particular coup, but before we do, it's worth taking the time to explore just what has happened in Bolivia over the last several years to prompt a
He also got an interesting name from
did.
us. And if you support us at the $10 tier, which is half price right now, so it used to be $20, $10 right now, you don't get it live, but you get it right after it goes live, and there's only a limited amount of slots left right now.
Yes.
If you're there live, you get all the other perks. You vote on the next episode, you get a name, do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So great way to support us. Please go check out patreon.com/ADV podcast and support us is the best way to support us.
Yes. Now we're going to get into today's Slupaganda. Now today's Slupaganda is directly tied to the main topic, which is this whole revolution that's happening in China. At least the spark of a revolution. Okay. So this starts with China's sports event vanity and how it's backfired. It has become, sports events are the new dams,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because Xi Jinping rose to power by promoting and organizing the 2008 Olympics, it is now seen, and that was China's opening up to the rest of the world, were the 2008 Olympics. Before that, China was not really on the map.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Sporting events are seen as the biggest win for China.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's a university games, if it's the Asia Games, if it's the Winter Olympics, if it's this or that. China is spending all the money and all the effort to win these bids in order to host these games. Doesn't matter if it's the World Pickleball Championships or, like the toenail clipping championships. They want it because it brings international cameras. It gives them a chance to set up a bunch of LED lights and do drone shows and make fireworks and stuff and say, look how advanced China is, how great China is. And they use it as a propaganda thing every single time. But it is of utmost importance to the Chinese government that these sporting events go off without a hitch. They have to be immaculate. They will literally round up all the homeless people in the city where they're having the event and kick them out and drive them and drop them off in the woods somewhere. They will go and clean the streets and not allow street vendors. They will go and actually shut the windows and forbid people from opening their windows up, things like that. They do everything they can so that when the international cameras roll in, all you see is a pristine, idea or image of what China is like. Now, the latest one of these is called the World Games, which is being held in Chengdu in Sichuan. And that's important because we're going to discuss what's been happening in Sichuan. So let's take a look at some of the things they've been doing in the
This
lead
is the cutest ambassador from Chengdu, the hometown of giant pandas.
I'm Mr. Panda, Chengdu's ambassador for the application as host city for the 2025 World Games. Already like me at first sight? Well, give me a few minutes and you will fall in love with the city too.
So this was from a couple of years ago when they were still trying to win the bid.
Yeah.
They put this advertising campaign out. But something very unnatural is happening here. Okay?
What?
I'd like everybody to try and take a look at the sky, take a look at the trees, and tell me if that looks natural to you. Okay? Because, well, China fakes everything. Okay? And this is no exception. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Sky don't lie. Why are the tops of the buildings blue and the top of that tree?
Oh my dear Chocolado, that's not nice.
You know why? Because they painted it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy. Here, I'll show you what they did. They literally, I'm just using pink here, but you can see how they literally took the blue and painted it.
Yeah.
And there's lots of evidence of this because you can take a look and see here. Look in between the trees.
Yeah.
Where they couldn't paint.
Yeah.
You can see the original sky color.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Can you see? So they've got the blue where they painted it blue.
Yeah.
But because it was too difficult to get in between the leaves and stuff, they left that.
That's funny.
Okay. So I took a swatch. I'm like, okay, we'll take that, a dropper. Let's take that. Let's compare them. So the real CCP sky is what's called sidewalk gray.
Nice.
Isn't that just a great description?
Sidewalk gray. I like
Sidewalk gray. Okay, but the propaganda painted sky, the fake sky they put in, is something called sapphire ice.
Sapphire ice sounds much nicer, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
But sidewalk gray is probably the best explanation I've ever heard for the Chinese sky.
It is actually so apt.
It is. Anyway, it's just absurd that all of their propaganda promotional materials ended up looking like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can look at the trees. They couldn't get the gray parts in between is where they couldn't paint it because it would look weird.
Right.
You know, and everything about this is just so fake. The
very
green has been painted in there. It looks terrible.
This is the cutest ambassador from Chengdu, the hometown of John Pandas.
John Pandas.
Yeah, so who's John Pandas? I want to know.
The voiceover. That was supposed to be a foreign, or like a white guy saying that, but they dubbed the guy's voiceover with a Chinese narrator.
They do this a lot.
Yeah, they do.
You know why? Because China hasn't figured out audio yet. So every time they film on site, they screw it up, and then the audio is unusable. It's like full of noise and cacophony of rubbish and static.
That makes sense.
So then they dub it later in the studio, and so they got a Chinese guy to speak for the white guy, and instead of saying giant pandas, they said John Pandas.
John Pandas.
So I want to show you who John Pandas is. I found out who he is.
Oh,
Sorry.
you did? Okay,
I'll just play it again so you can listen and hear. Found out who he is. Man, that's so sloppy. This is sloppaganda of note.
It is.
This is the cutest ambassador from Chengdu, the hometown of John Pandas.
So who's John Pandas?
Let's see. Oh, John Pandas.
Yes.
Ambassador of the Chengdu World Games. John Pandas looks awful.
Yeah, this is him. This is John Pandas.
This is what's representing the World Games?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we found the official mascot. He's really the guy behind it.
John Pandas.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
I don't like John Pandas.
So let's see what else they've been doing. Everybody by now who knows about China will know about this Nerja 2.
Ninja.
Yeah, I told everyone I watched the first one with my wife.
Yes.
And I thought it was awful.
That's the character in the middle, right?
Yes, Nerja.
Yeah.
The second one is like the highest earning
animated film
of all, but only in China.
Yes.
Like it only sold in China, which is, it became like almost like mandatory to see it. And people were buying like multiple tickets to like try and boost it as a nationalist thing, you know, let's make this good. So they're using Nerja in their adverts for this World Games.
Such an unlikable character.
It is. It's like gross, like picking its nose and farting and stuff or whatever. So they're doing that stuff. And it's boundless sports, countless wonders. Isn't that? Can you do like a radio voice?
Boundless sports. Give me a rock.
Yes, rock intro. Go for it.
That's too quiet.
How about now?
Boundless sports, countless wonders. August 7th to the 17th. Join us at TWG 2025 Chengdu.
Yep.
There we go.
Pretty much. That's what we're talking about, right?
Don't join us.
No, don't join us. Don't go there.
You don't want to get that chicken disease or whatever. Chicken virus.
Yeah, chicken gunya. Yeah, chikungunya. Anyway, so as you can see, the opening it's already happened like the August 7th, right?
Ah, crap, yeah.
So don't worry, there's like unless you hop on a plane now.
Yeah.
But they got Den.
Den!
They got Den to promote this.
No way.
So,
Den is the best.
For those of you who don't know who Den is, here's a quick little refresher. This
Where
is
I
Den.
can find the soul imagination. Where?
Here.
I really need your help. You know, Break and Set to make official Asian game. They beat in Hangzhou. I feel invited to break dance.
Good for you.
Den, I demand a song for the Chengdu World Games. All right, pause it real quick.
Yeah.
So Den is an Eastern European, it's like Slavic guy.
Yeah.
Works for Chinese state media as like a dancer.
I think his stage name is like DJ Deranged.
DJ Deranged?
Yeah.
Whoa! Like that.
He's like one of those guys who's stuck in the 90s or something.
Very much so. He's
Yeah.
got the piss tip hair.
He thinks that breakdancing is the latest, newest thing.
Yes, I know. Someone said, "OMG, Den is still around."
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what we are so surprised. We haven't seen him since this Asian World Olympics or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this World Games brought him back and had him choreograph their whole routine.
Yes.
But we weren't satisfied with what
that was the Asia Games that he had to do that for. Now, so they seem to use him for sporting events.
Yes.
He's like a sporting event.
He's one of our favorites.
You know, shill.
His English is very fun to listen to.
Yeah, and so is
very
this amazing
positive.
music.
Yes.
So we thought that we'd show you his latest masterpiece.
Yes.
Let's get us out of here so we can take a look. Let's do this.
So Dennis, welcome to Chengdu, sir.
I'm familiar with Chengdu. World Games will be held here.
What do you know about Chengdu and what do you know about World Games?
Great dub.
Gather round the beat, where ancient streets and future athletes meet. Ancient streets and future athletes meet. Chengdu's the stage, the rhythms in the air, from spicy hot pots to pandas.
Then needs a spotlight.
Yes. I don't want the rest of the characters. I only want Ben.
Yes, check him out though. Here he is. Yes, only Dens.
Only Dens, dude. I
Yeah.
love Only Dens. Only
Exactly.
Dens rules.
Yes.
I like when you made that like Russian song or whatever. When the
Yeah.
beat drops, I'm in my mind. I say screw it, Only Dens.
It's only Dens,
I don't
dude.
want to see. Because what they did is they made an AI song.
They did.
And they
It's
had them-
so bad. They dubbed over this
Yeah.
AI song. Man, it sounds terrible.
Well, it's
And
not their voices, so they mess up the whole dub.
Yeah,
right?
I just want to get the Only Dens logo up here.
You would appreciate that. You really did. If I'm totally honest with you, I would much prefer
Yeah.
watching Only Den's content than to watch the World Chengdu games or
Of
whatever, whatever like made up sports they put in
Yeah,
there.
he's supremely entertaining.
He is the best.
He's like a ballerina mixed
Yes.
with like a
90s boy band
yeah,
guy.
and a beat boy,
And a-
whatever
yeah,
you call
yeah.
it, as like a b-boy, break dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all of those. And
He's-
then also Slavic. So
Yes.
it just makes it so fun to listen to.
Exactly. It's like, come on, guys.
World games will be held there.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's
you
so
can
good.
tell, like in real life, and maybe we're wrong, but in real life, he would always be swearing, but at the wrong times
Yes.
in England.
Yeah, he will. You know, that's just what they do.
This is what it's
Go have a
so-
hot pot and go find the beaches. You know, he'll be like that. You know, that's him. Yeah.
Beaches? I'm sorry, Dan. There's no beaches here. We're in China.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed the Only Dens intro, but it just shows you like they're pulling out all the stops, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That was
So-
sick. He's not Timu Sea Milk. He doesn't look anything like.
No, he doesn't look like you at all.
Now that's really important to get into the
Yes.
sub power. This is the important part.
Yes.
Now here's the deal. That all is there for a reason. They're doing hardcore promotion of the World Games in Sichuan.
Yes.
Which is where this revolution is taking place.
So what does the Chinese government do when there's an important sporting event in town is they make sure that if anything bad happens in that town, it gets swept under the rug immediately.
Yes. Yes. And that leads us to this. These are basically ununiformed, unmarked police. They hired hundreds of them for the World Games
Yes.
because they need to make sure security is very tight.
Yes.
Now this will be province-wide. And it all started with this photo.
Yeah, this is what caught our attention to this. Because, look, I had been paying attention to this, but it was when I saw them hauling protesters away in pig trucks. Because these, by the way, are livestock transport trucks in China. These are actually used for pigs, not for humans. But when we started to see protesters being carted around in pig trucks, we were like, something's up here.
Yes.
I mean, not only is this a great commentary of how the Chinese government views the Chinese people as just cattle,
Yes.
you know, it's also incredibly disrespectful.
Yes.
You know, I don't care what country you're in, but if you arrest protesters and put them in like a literal pig truck,
Yes.
it's just the worst thing you can do. Like,
It really is.
they couldn't have used a van.
No. Well, they do that later.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're like, okay, this is getting out of hand. What's going on here? Okay, so this is what started everything.
So these are the headlines you might have seen. You
Yes.
might have seen a picture of a girl getting beat up, and you might have seen a picture of a mother pleading. Right.
Yes.
These are the two common images. So what happened was, I'll give you a quick overview here. Basically, a girl. This is in Mianyang in China.
Yeah.
Specifically in Jiangyo. Okay. In Sichuan.
Which is in Sichuan, where they're having the games.
Yes.
So that's why this is important.
So basically, named Lai was lured into an abandoned building, and then had to endure hours of slapping, kicking, and verbal abuses.
Yeah,
Now, we're not
pretty
gonna show you
brutal.
that. It's
Yeah, we
awful.
won't show any of that stuff.
And then a chilling taunt. It was really, really bad. And what happened was this video of this went viral in China, and people lost their minds. Now, what's interesting is that this is not a new occurrence. In
I've
fact,
seen this kind of video a lot.
there's a great What's on Weibo article about all the different ones that this happens all the time. Basically.
It happens all the time. It's a very common thing to see this very brutal bullying.
Yes.
And it's usually, teenage girls bullying another teenage girl.
Or boys.
Yeah.
There's one that a recent one actually. I can actually read here. A recent one where a boy was bullied to death, unfortunately.
Now, here's the thing that really sparked everyone's anger about this is you can hear the main bullies, the main instigators, saying, I don't care if you call the police. I've been to the police many times and I'm in and out of there within 10 minutes or 20 minutes because...
Connections, right?
It's because of connections mostly. And also when it comes to this kind of minor violence and stuff, there's no rule.
No.
There's no law. So they just kind of say, hey, don't do it again and let them out.
So what happened was the police response, because people were upset, right?
Yeah, because it went viral.
Yeah, so what also went viral is the next clip you're about to show. Just
And so the mother and father came to plead with the police. The mother is a deaf mute and the father's illiterate.
Well, so that's what was pissing people off, was apparently the bullying had something to do with the fact that she's getting bullied because of her parents' disabilities, right?
Yeah.
And so the mother, a deaf mute, begging with the school leadership, please punish the students that beat and tortured my daughter.
What happened was the bullies were basically said, well, they were like, okay, we'll suspend them and we'll give them some critical re-education. Well, not re-education, but basically we'll just criticize them and tell them not to do it again.
Well, the police did in a confirmed report said that they would be sent to specialized correctional school.
There we go.
While the youngest and bystanders received formal reprimands.
Yeah, just a formal reprimand. So if you'd seen the video, it's a very brutal bullying. It's horrible. And so the parents thought, you know what, this is not enough. All they're getting is a slap on the wrist, and the worst offenders are simply being sent to a different school, basically.
Yeah, so it says, what began as an emotional gathering turned into a large-scale protest. Because what happened was people were there to show their support of the parents trying to get extra punishment for the people that did this, right?
Yeah.
But when you look into it, go ahead, it really blew up into a massive thing. And it didn't need to be like that. And that's usually how things go in China, is this knee-jerk reaction is way too much for what's actually transpiring, because you have situations like this where people aren't doing anything. And just go ahead and play.
I will. I just wanted to say that rumors then started that the main instigator, bully, was the daughter of
I have that in
a
there.
well-known, sort of Communist Party official. That happened before all of this.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And so, as you were saying, the reaction was bad. So rather than the police and the local government treating this correctly and saying, okay, maybe you're right, maybe we need to address this more seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't just give them a slap on the wrist and try to bury it.
Yeah.
They doubled down.
Yeah.
Okay? And so people started to come out to protest.
Yes.
And when they came out to protest peacefully, I might add, they didn't come out there to cause trouble. They came out to just demand answers.
Yeah.
This sort of thing that you're about to see, because this was one of the pivotal moments started to happen.
And you won't need to pause after this.
No.
There's tons of footage we can go through. Yeah.
This guy's just like, what are you doing?
I don't have anything.
Yeah. Stop bullying her, etc. And they just basically, grab him and choke him and do
the thing.
Do the Chinese police oppression thing, right?
Yeah.
And so people started to see this. I'll turn the volume down. People started to see this, and they were like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And so they all started to gather, and the police started to get extra brutal and started to just beat people up and drag them off. And it just created this whole, us versus them thing. The government is not doing the right job here,
Yeah, it was really interesting to see, because it devolved into a thing where people began using nationalism and the Constitution of China and Chairman Mao and all of these things as a positive element to fight back against what they saw as an oppressing force. Almost ironically, being like, where's our rights? Here's our rights. Here's the anthem. Here's our Constitution, right?
Yeah.
Trying to throw that in the police's face, but the government just absolutely destroyed.
They sent in thousands of police officers again, and they just suppressed the people rather than doing it the right way and saying yes, you're right, let's do a proper investigation into this.
Yeah, so what the people that were there were saying, there was pleading, there was protest chants, and there was prominent confrontations with the police, but what they observed was police using batons, physically dragging civilians and beating them. Rumors circulated that one of the attackers had been seen playing billiards, playing pool, instead of being sent to the correctional school. So then the protests got massive after that.
Yes, yeah.
It just exploded. And that's where it stopped being a local issue.
Yeah.
In particular, because people started to, because like I said, this is like a popular on Weibo thing, this whole bullying thing. And the response wasn't like, oh, we're going to overthrow the country, screw China, screw the Chinese government, when they saw the bullying video.
Yes.
But that became that response when they started to see the police response to the innocent people that were just having chants and trying to show their support for the parents while they tried to resolve this issue.
Correct.
So it became way bigger than it ever had any need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it became a very pivotal moment in trying to see if China can actually quash real dissent, because it became real dissent.
It did become real dissent. And again, it's because they're trying to keep the shiny image for the World Games, which are happening at the moment.
Yes.
That they wanted to just brute force this thing away rather than deal with it in a correct manner.
Yeah, so this actually reminded me a lot of the white paper protests in Shanghai, which were about having a protest about how don't lock us in our apartments, we're sick of starving to death, because people were starving to death in their apartments during zero COVID lockdowns.
Yep.
And then it turned into an anti-government thing because of the crackdown.
Yes.
Because of these protests, in fact, they were showing their solidarity for people in Urumqi, another city that burned down in a building.
Yes.
And the police actually removed the sign of a street that said Urumqi Road.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they didn't want people to know where to meet up to have the protest.
Yes.
That fuel, it was just the dumping lighter fluid on everything.
And they've done the same here. You couldn't search the city's name again in Weibo. Every video was being blocked. You couldn't discuss it online.
I actually have that all together here.
Yeah.
But it was madness. People were taking their scooters out to see the SWAT team. The police, the armed police, were out there chasing hordes of people out of there, even non-protesters.
Yes.
If you were just in the area, they started indiscriminately bussing in tons of cops and making sure all these people would disperse. People started to live stream it.
Yes.
It became a live streaming event, and the government didn't have any tools at that moment to be able to block certain things. Like, there was no...
They sent in the vans.
Yes, there was no unanimous videos yet, right? Like that's definitely from Jiangyo, it's definitely from this area of Sichuan. But then they send in the...
I don't like it when they send in the blacked out vans, because that's sus. You could see the people being sent in, and they made a big thing of this too.
Well, what's interesting is I think this is a great show of disconnect. This is what you won't get in the media.
Yeah.
These are videos that were being put out saying, don't worry, citizens. We've sent in the SWAT team to get rid of these bad agitators.
Yeah.
Everyone in the country was supporting these people.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Nobody was cheering on the cops, but the government is so deluded in China.
Yes.
That they think people are like, okay, we really don't want this disruption in our life, so we're happy to send the SWAT team in.
Yeah.
They're literally promoting it with videos. They're like, look, here comes a SWAT team. Look at the heroes.
Yeah.
And people were like, yo, you've lost the frickin' plot.
Yeah, so they started to comment on these police videos and using code words and so on to mock them. And again, another big aspect to all of this is corruption, because they were seeing, like I said, the rumors, which could be true.
Yeah.
Is that the bullies were connected politically because the father was like a police chief or whatever the case, so something like that. Yeah, like I said, could be true. Not saying it is true, but that is a common occurrence in China. Is that if you're connected, you don't get punished, and you can do bad things, and that's what the people are so sick and tired of. Yeah, if you're rich, or if you're rich, you are connected.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. So what happened was they bust in all the SWAT team, they bust in the cops. They had probably thousands of police force at this point.
Yes.
And they finally declared that martial law would come down upon the city.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of we're showing you the process of how they cleared everything out. But that's actually not where it stopped. In fact, this is the spark. When we said there's a spark.
Yeah.
The big thing that blew up afterwards was after they cleared this out, after they wiped the streets, after they declared martial law.
Yeah.
Like these are the kind of videos that people were showing. But
they blocked off all the roads. This is actual. You can see all the roads on the map have been closed.
Yeah.
In that city, anywhere in and around the area where the government building is, where people were protesting, and the school and everything else has been completely blocked.
That's right.
And you can see from the photos that you cannot go on those roads because they've got roadblocks with cops there.
That's right.
Anyone wants to go near any of these sites, they're barred entry or arrested. And that's how they take care of their problems, is they just erase them.
Yep.
You know?
You just block it off.
Yeah.
And then, so what people noticed was when they tried to share videos of this, they were all getting blocked, right?
Yeah, it says failed to send, failed to send. You can't send them, you can't share them.
So the ingenious nature, and they wanted to share pictures, obviously. The ingenious nature of what Chinese people do to get around censors, because they're very aware of censorship, is what we can see next.
You know that there's something else about this image that you probably don't know. Very recently, and we'll talk about this a little later, but China's put out one of those like fueling of hatred videos about the Nanjing massacre. It's called Nanjing Photo Studio is its original Chinese name, but it's called Dead to Rights. We'll show you a little later. But that kind of backfired because it's caused a lot of problems in China and between Japan and China as usual. This happens every year. You can expect it to happen. We'll talk about it later. But people were taking these photos, and you can see it's arranged like this, and they're calling it the Jiangyo Photo Studio.
Oh,
you know,
interesting.
Because in the movie, it's all about like some guy who helps develop Japanese soldiers' photos and sees all the terrible things they're doing, and then he like hides the photos or saves them or whatever, and then it sees like a photo album. So now they're replicating the photo album, but with the Chinese police beating the citizens.
Oh, backfire.
Yeah,
Big
so
backfire.
it's Jiangyo Photo Studio.
Oh, interesting. That's really interesting. Good insight. So what happened was people are trying to get around the censors, right? So what they decided to do was they want to spread the word, right? So pause that. So people were finding videos, and you'll see a lot of these on the Chinese internet, of foreign protests. So protests in Germany, England, France, America.
Oh, you find them.
And they show those, and they show the worst parts about them. Be like, you should. You know, they share this because they say, you sure you want to live in a free country?
Yeah, they're like, you're so lucky to be in China because you don't have to deal with these protests, and then they'll show like some BLM protest or something.
Right. And what they do, and they'll show police brutality,
Yes,
stuff like that, like instances, and trying to dissuade people from thinking that life is better elsewhere.
Yes.
So what they did was go to these videos which paint the West in a bad light.
Yes.
And people started celebrating them
Yes.
because they're like, we're experiencing police brutality, much worse, right? And then sharing all the information about what's happening in Jiangyo and Sichuan.
Yes, yeah.
So they were using these ironically because they're put out as anti-West propaganda,
Yes.
as pro-West propaganda in a way, and anti-Chinese government propaganda by everyone saying like support.
And using those wild subtitles and so on, as they call them.
So it's kind of interesting to see how they hijacked this stuff. And then artwork started coming out about the parents groveling, the actual bullying event, and then you have the police brutality as well.
Yeah. So people were
sharing these
protesting against bullying, and then they just got bullied, is what happened.
Yes. So then this is when it became not a local issue anymore. This spread across the country, right? This is just that thing that said, like, the cyber police said that it's not true that they have connections to the deputy director kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I like this is like diligent overtime work by the Mingyang Cyber Police has issued a notice stating that two individuals who spread rumors claiming the bully was the daughter of the deputy director of the Jiangyo City Public Security Bureau have already been punished by the police. Because that's what you want to tell people that are protesting against, like this authoritarian, horrible stuff, is to tell them, oh, don't worry, we've already punished people who spread rumors. We're coming for you next.
Yeah.
This is a threat.
Yeah.
This is them bragging and threatening at the same time. You know?
So what happened was, this is the World Game, going back to the World Games thing. Remember the Chengdu thing?
Yeah.
So they were live streaming it, and apparently they had to pull it because they used the live stream of this World Games thing that they're so proud of, the commencement speech.
I mean, they got Den to do music video.
Yes. They're so taking it so seriously that people were using the chat feature to bring up the protests.
Yes.
And so they apparently had to shut down a lot of streams of this event.
Yeah,
that
you
they're
see how
so
like it
proud
just
of.
they shut it down.
Cut out.
Yeah.
Because that's all people want to talk about in China right now, is to bring awareness to the fact that they're getting beaten up for having a peaceful protest about stopping bullying.
Yes.
Right? It's the irony of it's insane.
Yeah, what's going on with this phone call?
So people across the country were calling the government, like top government, the local government, all kinds of governments, and they turned off all the lines apparently.
Yeah.
So people couldn't get through because they're complaining about it, right?
Yeah, they're
like,
trying to phone the Public Security Bureau in Sichuan, in that province, in that area, and the lines don't work.
Nope.
So government.
Yeah, they shut it down in so many ways. That's why you're seeing them go to like such random outlets to try to promote this information, try to spread awareness.
Yeah.
Of course, they made artwork of the whole situation. There's the pig truck. Actually, they turned the policemen into the pigs. Obviously.
Yes.
What people are doing now apparently is sending the Constitution, the Chinese Constitution.
See, this is Jiangyo Shi Gong'anji.
Yeah.
So it's basically the Jiangyo City's Public Security Bureau. So they've ordered the Constitution, like you said, on Taobao, and they're sending it to the Public Security Bureau. So they're sending
remind them
the
of the law.
Constitution to the cops to say,
Yes.
like, you know,
This is the law.
read the Constitution.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
They're also sending artificial poop,
I mean,
which,
Yeah.
you know. it
well, I
is-
mean, the
it is what it
Constitution,
is.
artificial poop, they have the same value in China, let's be
True.
honest.
This is true.
Because the Constitution is just paper and they never
It means
adhere to
nothing.
it.
Yeah, it
they
means
never adhere to it.
Nope.
You know?
No rule of law.
No. Anyway.
So you have that. But what was interesting is these protest songs started coming out. It was like a
Oh, yeah,
metal
let me
song.
put the volume up. They made like a song.
What you're seeing come up on a lot of these kind of like dissidents, I shouldn't even say dissidents, supporters of what's, you know, people trying to fight back a little bit. The lyrics say they're bandits in uniform. They're vicious demons. I made it pretty low.
Oh, I'll make it lower.
In the middle of the night, they do evil and to silence you. What is buried are their numerous sins.
6 sticks in 1 second, 6 sticks in 1 second. They feel a little short. 6 sticks in 1 second, 6 sticks in 1 second. The evil beasts obey the dog's leadership. Put down the law, take up arms and fight back. I am fearless. Put down the law, take up arms and fight back. I am fearless. Put down the law, take up arms and fight back.
You can play a little bit, play it out, because I only did a little bit of this one.
Yeah, someone's in trouble.
Whoever made this,
Yes.
trouble for sure. Going down. Just a reminder of what, you know, transpired or whatever. This is just going around all over the internet, apparently.
Yeah, people are putting compilations together. It's a flashpoint, you know.
It is a big flashpoint right now.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to end this segment with is a stark reminder of what's been happening whenever these kind of protests happen here. This
Yes.
is really dragging out.
It is.
I wanted to show something very specific.
Okay.
But apparently we're going to watch this footage all over again.
Why not?
Can you skip? Okay, cool. It's culminated into some very, very, very insane things happening in
This
other
is
parts of
yesterday.
the country. Yeah.
In Kunming in Yunnan. So this is very far away.
Yes. So this, what does this say? This says Xi Jinping get out. Now
Yes.
what you're looking at here is a funeral.
Yes, I got to get back to that. Sorry, it went.
Can we not do that whole thing.
No, we won't. Don't worry. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah. It's basically get out of here, Xi Jinping.
I mean, you're looking at a funeral.
You're looking at a dead person standing there. Yeah. Because you can't do that kind of thing in China.
No, it's the worst thing.
But
you
it
can
shows you that how much an event like this that kicked off in Zhangyo, how it's created courage amongst people that are dissatisfied.
Yep.
Enough courage, enough to stand up and risk his life.
Yeah.
You know, to make a statement like that.
To make a statement that in most other countries would be perfectly
And
fine.
I mean, this is the thing, you can never downplay how serious this is.
No,
We're not
no,
joking when we
no.
say this guy's, you know, he's signed his own death warrant by doing this. Everybody who's ever taken part in a protest or held up a sign or waved a flag or done anything like that in a country that allows free speech. And if they have anything to do about complaining about their, you know, situation, they can shut up, because if you try to do that in China, you're done.
Yes.
You know, in China, Chinese people go abroad and they wave their Chinese flag and stuff
Yep.
in countries and like, oh, China's great and stuff. But it's not the other way around. You cannot go into China and wave a flag around and say like free Tibet or something. You will be arrested. You will be dealt with. And if you say anything critical of the Chinese government, if you say anything critical about Xi Jinping, you are done.
You're toast.
I mean, that guy who put the banner on the Shitong Bridge, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He's disappeared and his family's under house arrest and has been, his extended family.
His family had
ever
nothing
since.
to do with it.
Yeah. It's bad. It's serious. And people who are praising China at the moment about, oh, China's living in the future, China's great. Shut up. It's abuse as ever. You are so trapped if you're a Chinese citizen. These fair weather friends who go over there because they've got a British passport or an American passport and go and eat cheap food and mess around drunkenly doing whatever they want to do over there think it's great. But that's because they're not a Chinese person and they don't understand the restrictions that are placed on Chinese people. They cannot leave. They're putting exit bans on kindergarten teachers and anyone who they deem is somebody of importance. Can't just leave the country. You know, you can't have freedom of speech.
Nope.
You can't have any rights at all. But you, as a stupid fair weather friend, foreigner, white monkey over there, going, "Oh, China's so great," it's only because you are a foreigner. If you were Chinese, you would not be saying that.
Nope.
You're a traitor. Anyway, let's carry on.
So finish off with some chants.
Yeah, I got some chants going on there.
Because people weren't allowed to go out on the streets. Can't verify that clip, by the way, but I thought it was nice.
Yes. Oh, yeah, by the way, don't worry, this is not the same.
We're going to talk about torture methods, by the way, and I've separated them into groups 1 to 5 based on intensity.
I love that guy's parkour skills.
I do see 90% of people spelling it drastically wrong. What the... Can't verify that clip, by the way, but I thought it was nice.
Yes. Oh, yeah, by the way, don't worry, this is not the same.
We're going to talk about torture methods, by the way, and I've separated them into groups 1 to 5 based on intensity.
I love that guy's parkour skills.
I do see 90% of people spelling it drastically wrong. What that does is it gives you long-lasting joint and nerve damage, and this is used during interrogations. I'm going to show you a picture of what some of the aftermath looks like. Just brace yourself. And they're watching you try to eat the rats, and this is modern, by the way. And they dip, and they'd hang you, dip, until eventually you're just
like a raw thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like demons.
Nice.
Yes.
Another episode we did recently was...
Yeah, this was last week's
Last week's. Yeah, we did China's torture methods. We ranked them. We ranked China's torture methods from level 1 to level 5.
It's a pretty dark episode.
It's very dark, but it's also very eye-opening. A lot of
educational.
People they learned a lot, which is cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very, very interesting one.
Yeah, we got a very diverse list of topics over on Shaban Ho, our VIP show. Please join us if you have the means. We'd love to see you there.
Absolutely. Go to patreon.com/ADVpodcast. It's the best way to support us.
Correct. All right, so now we're done with the whole protest thing. We can move on to Worldview. This is where we talk about everything in the world, specifically with regards to China.
Yes.
And we're going to start with this Nanjing Photo Studio, or Dead to Rights, which, as we all know by now, is a GameCube game and a PS3 game, Dead to Rights. Oh, and a book, Dead to Rights. Yeah.
What the heck?
And a 2003 American movie as well.
Huh.
So, so Dead... But, again, come up with your own original names, China, please.
I don't get why it was even named that. It's not clever at all.
It's also fabricated and false.
Right.
Okay. I'll give you a quick plot of the story. I did tell you briefly earlier, but the idea is that there's this young Chinese assistant, and the Japanese army soldiers ask his photo studio to develop their war crime photos, which, by the way, is nonsense because the Japanese soldiers and the Japanese invasion force, they developed their own photos because they did not want like military secrets to be, spread or exposed. So it's a contrived story. Mm-hmm. And even the producer, the director said that he made the movie so that people could know who the enemy was.
Gotcha.
It's one of those movies that has been designed to make people hate. Mm-hmm. And listen, the Nanjing Massacre is one of